Well, hello there. Buckle up because we're diving headfirst into another geopolitical head-scratcher. America has just rolled out a new visa ban policy, adding another layer to the already complex world of international relations. And this time, it's not about dodgy imports or trade imbalances. It's not about fashion faux pas, tariffs, or economic sanctions. The US State Department now targets foreign officials, and this is where things get interesting. Specifically, those who, in their official capacity, suppress the speech of Americans online. We're talking about digital censorship, folks. Yes, you heard right. This isn't your typical diplomatic maneuver. If you're a foreign bureaucrat, sitting in some office somewhere in the world, telling Americans to pipe down on the internet, trying to silence voices in the digital sphere, you might find your Disney vacation plans suddenly canceled. That's right, no Mickey Mouse for you. The term improper suppression is as vague as it sounds, leaving a lot open to interpretation, leaving plenty of room for debate and confusion. What exactly constitutes improper suppression? The lawyers are going to have a field day with this one. This isn't just about what happens on US soil. It's not limited by geographical boundaries. It's a global move, a statement on how the US views online freedom. With America flexing its digital muscles far beyond its borders, projecting power in the digital age, imagine, just for a moment, the implications of this. A foreign official blocks a tweet from Dave in Ohio. Maybe Dave was just complaining about the local sports team. And suddenly, that official's US travel dreams go up in smoke. No more business trips, no more family visits. It's a bold escalation, a significant ratcheting up of tensions, turning online censorship into a matter of international consequence. The stakes just got a whole lot higher. Why now? What's the driving force behind this policy shift? The internet has become a battleground, a digital Wild West, with governments everywhere trying to control the narrative, shape public opinion, and influence elections. The US is planting its flag, staking its claim in this digital domain, declaring that American voices won't be silenced by foreign powers, a firm stance on freedom of expression, at least not without consequences. There will be repercussions for those who attempt to stifle American voices. Is this a heroic stand for liberty, a noble defense of free speech, or just the start of more global bickering, a potential catalyst for increased international conflict? Time will tell. Only time will reveal the true impact of this policy. Either way, the world's watching, keenly observing every move. And so are a lot of nervous officials wondering if they're next. Strap in, folks, it's going to be a bumpy ride. This ride's just getting started, and there are plenty of twists and turns ahead. Let's break down how this works. The policy targets foreign government officials who use their power to silence Americans or US media, whether through direct orders, legal threats, or subtle pressure. Improper is the magic word, and it covers everything from deleting posts to launching lawsuits against Americans, even if the American is abroad. The Secretary of State decides who's crossed the line. This isn't about random trolls, it's about officials wielding real authority to muzzle US voices. The message is clear mess with American free speech, and you might be stuck at home, dreaming of American fast food. It's a new kind of deterrent, personal, targeted, and very 21st century. This policy as we see it today didn't just appear out of thin air, of course. Around the world, various governments are actively tightening their grip and control on online speech, with the European Union's Digital Services Act really leading the charge in this arena. The US move is partly a reaction to these global trends, an attempt to proactively protect its own citizens from potentially getting caught in the crossfire of global digital regulation. Ironically, America's own past record on nudging and influencing social media companies is far from spotless, making this whole situation a complicated and arguably somewhat hypocritical stand to take. So, who should be worried? The State Department isn't naming names, but officials from countries known for heavy-handed information control, think ministers, regulators, or intelligence chiefs, are likely candidates. If you're an official who's blocked websites, sued American journalists, or pressured platforms to silence US voices, you might be in the crosshairs. The policy's reach is broad. It could apply to anyone using state power to target Americans anywhere in the world. The extraterritorial angle is what makes this spicy actions taken far from US borders can still land you on the no-entry list. Beijing, Moscow, Tehran, Brussels. No one's off limits if the Secretary of State decides your actions are improper. The list could be long or short, depending on politics and diplomacy. For now, it's a waiting game. The only certainty? Some officials are definitely rethinking their travel plans, and maybe their approach to online censorship too. Reactions are, predictably, all over the map. It's a mixed bag of opinions, ranging from cautious optimism to outright condemnation. This policy has certainly stirred the pot, igniting passionate debates across various platforms. Free speech advocates are cheering, seeing this as a victory for open dialogue and the unhindered exchange of ideas, calling this a bold defense of American voices, a stand against the perceived silencing of dissenting opinions. They believe it reinforces the fundamental principles upon which the nation was founded. In a world of growing censorship, the concern is that unchecked moderation can stifle legitimate discourse and create echo chambers. Critics, though, are quick to cry hypocrisy, questioning the motives behind this seemingly altruistic move. After all, the US has its own history of pressuring platforms, raising concerns about double standards and the selective application of free speech principles. There's also the risk of diplomatic blowback, as other nations may view this policy as an infringement on their sovereignty. Countries could retaliate with their own bans, creating a tit-for-tat scenario that escalates tensions and hinders international cooperation, turning visa applications into a new front in global disputes. This could lead to increased scrutiny and delays for travelers, impacting tourism, business, and cultural exchange. The vagueness of improper worries many, as it leaves room for subjective interpretation and potential abuse. Will this be applied fairly, or just used against adversaries? The fear is that it could become a tool for political maneuvering, targeting individuals and organizations based on their views rather than legitimate concerns. The Secretary of State holds all the cards, wielding significant power in determining who is deemed improper and subject to these restrictions. And that makes some folks nervous. The concentration of such authority in a single individual raises concerns about potential overreach and the erosion of due process. This could be a real deterrent, discouraging individuals from engaging in activities deemed undesirable by the US government, or just a symbolic gesture that annoys more than it protects. The effectiveness of this policy hinges on its consistent and transparent application, as well as its ability to withstand legal challenges. Either way, it's a diplomatic minefield. Navigating these complex issues will require careful consideration and a nuanced approach. The stakes: international relations, free speech, the delicate balance between national security and individual liberties, and maybe the fate of a few widget conferences. The potential impact extends beyond geopolitics, affecting various sectors and industries. One thing's for sure, the world is watching, scrutinizing every move and analyzing the implications of this policy. And so are a lot of nervous officials, bracing themselves for the potential consequences and preparing to respond to any fallout. The fallout could be as unpredictable as the internet itself. Only time will tell how this all unfolds. So what's the real impact of this policy shift? What does it all boil down to in the grand scheme of things? This policy marks a significant shift in how the US approaches online censorship, moving it from a matter of simple disagreement to one with real-world consequences. Online censorship of Americans wherever it occurs is now officially a foreign policy issue, elevated to a level of importance it hasn't held before. It's no longer just a tech squabble between companies and governments, it's a matter of national interest. By directly tying visa access to the protection of free speech, the US is sending a clear message about its priorities. The US is raising the stakes considerably for foreign officials who target American voices, potentially impacting their ability to travel and engage with the United States. It's a personal risk now, not just a policy decision. Censor an American citizen's online expression, and you might very well lose your shot at visiting the US, facing potential travel restrictions and diplomatic consequences. That could make some officials think twice, perhaps even 3 times, before cracking down on online speech and limiting access to information. But of course, there's a potential downside to this approach. If other countries retaliate in kind, mirroring the US policy, we could see the internet splinter even further, becoming a patchwork of restricted zones. This could lead to more national barriers, hindering the free flow of information and diminishing global dialogue. The US move could inspire copycats, setting a precedent for other nations to follow. This could lead to a world where travel bans become just another tool, readily deployed in the ongoing struggle for control over the digital space. In the increasingly complex and fraught digital censorship wars, it's a bold gambit, a high-stakes play in the global arena, with potentially far-reaching consequences for the future of online freedom and the open exchange of ideas. Will it ultimately protect free speech and promote a more open internet? Or will it just add fuel to the fire, escalating tensions and leading to further fragmentation? Only time, and a lot of closely scrutinized visa applications, will tell us the true impact of this policy. So, there you have it. America's new visa ban for foreign censors is making waves and raising eyebrows. It's a loud statement about protecting U.S. voices in a borderless digital world. But is it a righteous defense of free speech, or an overreach that could backfire? The tension between national sovereignty and global internet freedom has never been sharper. Will this policy make a real difference or just spark more arguments and diplomatic headaches? What do you think? Is this the right way to defend free expression or just another twist in the never-ending saga of online speech wars?